I'm Dr. George Watts, Chairman of Top Line Talent.
And I'm Lori Blazek, CEO.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us today to experience the Top Line Talent Sales Training Program. We want you to have a complete overview and gain an understanding of the unique differences of the Top Line Talent Sales Training Program.
I think we can all agree that consultative selling is a complex activity. The brain science is very clear on how people learn complex skills. That is studying 2 hours per week, broken into 20-minute lessons, spread out over 3 to 4 months. Only Top Line Talent's 28 lessons, delivered over 4 months, is consistent with the science of how people learn and change behavior.
Top Line Talent uses the very best in positive psychology. We are going to coach you to leverage your strength in the selling dynamic. We know one thing: people are most productive, happiest, and most successful when they use their core natural strength.
Now let's move on to show you what you can expect from the Top Line Talent experience.
Top Line Talent consists of 28 lessons delivered over 4 months, 1 module per month. After you download the audiobook, you move through the lessons and activities sequentially. Activities include videos, practice exercises, and journal entries. Module 1 coaches participants in understanding personality traits and in identifying their own individual natural strength. You will now see video clips from lessons 2 and 3. These clips touch on the topics of self-awareness and the Big 5 personality model. Why are we advocating self-awareness so much in Module 1? It turns out that the more self-aware you are, the greater your listening skills are. One of the, I found, too few positive aspects of aging is that you do become a better listener. Most of the time, people are not effective listeners for one reason: it's because of their ego. Your ego seeks validation. And when your ego seeks validation, you interrupt, you want to put your 2 cents in, you want to say, well, let me tell you what I think, or here's my opinion, or what you should do is. All of those are coming from a place of the ego. Once you've validated yourself, you no longer have a need for others to validate you. Self-awareness is the best and easiest and most wonderful way to gain clarity as to who you are. And once you understand that, once you validate yourself to yourself, you become a great listener. The greater your degree of self-awareness, the more mature you are as a human being. And the more mature you are as a human being, the more you're going to unlock the power of another person. Imagine if you bring out the best in your client, not just bringing out the best in yourself, but bringing out the best in your client, that the client feels good when they're in your presence. The client wants to be with you because you add strategic value and you allow him or her to bring out their own passion, to bring out their own highest order thoughts, to bring out their own vision for themselves. You can only make somebody feel great about themselves if you feel great about yourself. And it's self-awareness that teaches you, that shows you the path of becoming who you truly are as a human being. Over the last 20 years, psychology has done a great job through the application of large-scale studies, meta-analytic techniques, to identify 5 core personality traits. It turns out that these 5 core personality traits are valid all over the world. It doesn't make any difference what country you go in, where you go. These 5 core personality traits are still valid. We're going to talk about now the first trait of the Big 5 is what we call open mind. The open-minded personality loves to play with ideas. They're creative, imaginative. They love to talk about the future. They love to think about things 3 years out. They love to try something new. They're unconventional. They defy convention. Sometimes they defy authority, but they love to imagine and place themselves into new, unpredictable situations. The open-minded types always sell you on the future. Their future is always bright. When you deal with an open-minded type, make sure that they sacrifice a little bit for you too in the present. What are some open-minded personality types? Steve Jobs, Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos from Amazon. All 3 of them would be considered to have open-minded as their number 1 trait. The second trait is extroversion. Extroverts love to perform. They're talkative, outgoing, social. Crowds actually energize them. You can tell if you're an extrovert. If you go to a party and you come home and you feel that sense of adrenaline from meeting and touching so many people's lives, that means you're a true extrovert. Now, sometimes with an extrovert, it's tough to concentrate. They have a hard time focusing that energy and can become too diffuse. They exist very much in the present. They have a tendency to promise quickly and not follow up as well as they could, and to act on their emotions. Who are some well-known extroverts out there? One, Bill Clinton. Another ex-president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The third type is the agreeable personality. These type adapt well to others. They make great partners because their ego needs generally are not as high as some of the other personality types. They also have higher levels of emotional intelligence. Social harmony and cooperation is what inspires them. The weakness is that they can be naive. They don't suspect. They're not political by nature. What are some examples of the agreeable personality? Nelson Mandela, Ronald Reagan. The fourth personality trait is the conscientious personality. The conscientious personality is reliable, hardworking, dependable. They love processes and they follow through. They plan ahead and are efficient with their actions and with their energy. They also know how to stay task focused. The downside of conscientious personality, at times they insist upon being included or they work against the deal. They can see things in a black or white fashion at times, and at other times they can be overly cautious. What are several examples of the conscientious personality? Bill Gates, Hillary Clinton are both conscientious personalities. The fifth is the emotionally stable personality. These folks are rational, objective, level-headed under pressure. They handle stress well. They like objective measurement. The weakness of the emotionally stable personality is they can be judgmental and rely too much on quantitative data and not take emotions into account. They can be tough or absolute. Sometimes they don't extend themselves for others. What are some examples of the emotionally stable personality? Colin Powell and Warren Buffett. The challenge we're going to ask you to do right now is to rank order your own big five. One trait is not necessarily any better than another. Conscientiousness isn't any better than extroversion, which certainly isn't any better than open-mindedness. The point being is everyone can rank themselves on a 1 to 5 scale. That's your challenge right now. Put a 1 beside the trait you think most aligns with your personality, and then 2, 3, 4, and 5. Rank order your own big five. On your screen is an example of a journal exercise from Lesson 5. Here we ask participants to rank order the personality traits of 3 previously identified prospects or clients. Understanding the personality of your targeted prospects or clients is critical to being able to effectively communicate. We build on this concept in Module 2. It is important to note that top-line talent is unique in that it is customized to each individual. Your case studies are live deals and relationships that you're currently working on right now. Module 2 applies what you've learned about personality in the selling dynamic. We coach how to develop strategic partnerships by forming deeper and more meaningful relationships. You learn how to add strategic value to every deal by utilizing your strengths. Other key concepts in Module 2 are improving listening skills, the importance of strategic open-ended questions, how to influence and persuade, and factors necessary for a successful close. You will now see video clips from Lessons 16 and 24 cover listening skills, open-ended questions, and optimal conditions for closing. Lesson 16, open-ended questions and reflective listening. Let's review briefly what open-ended questions are all about. We're devoting a lot of time to this for a reason. Most people are ineffective listeners. And to truly differentiate yourself, listening is a skill that you can acquire. You're not born a great listener. You learn to be a great listener when you validate your own ego to yourself, as we discussed last time. Let's talk about open-ended questions. What, how, tell me about. Remember that the client responds from their frame of reference. on a good open-ended question. Open-ended questions are considered more objective because they're less leading. They develop trust because they're less threatening. They're especially useful, we have found, when the client is more articulate. It shows an active interest and it expands your discussion. What is reflective listening? That's when you listen carefully, you synthesize the information, and you reflect the perceptions back to the client. This is truly adding strategic value. The ability to summarize, reflect back what the client is telling you helps the client understand that you understand. It's not enough that you feel you understand. The client must feel you understand. When the client feels you understand what they're saying and who they are as a person, they become bonded to you. And that's when the strategic partnering truly begins to cement itself. Great listening leads to great reflections. Great reflections lead to great listening. They're mutually reinforcing. Unless you add value through asking great strategic open-ended questions, you're a commodity. Be honest with yourself. Have you ever lost a deal because one of these four were missing? You hadn't established resonance, you didn't fully understand the problem, you hadn't articulated your value, or you tried to close too soon. If those four conditions are lined up and you've checked each one, you're going to make the close. Let's talk about the timing and getting the timing right. We understand the stress of being in consultative selling. You've put a lot of time in, you've put a lot of effort in, late nights, whatever. You want to close the deal. We can appreciate that. But what we advise is this: work the process. Don't worry about the outcome. The less you worry about the outcome, the more successful you're going to be. If your process is correct, if you've done the four things we just enumerated, you're going to close your share of deals. People want to engage in a partnership. They don't want to be closed. So if your timing is correct, the outcome will be correct. Failing to understand this and manage your own emotions is what costs salespeople so many great deals. Keep a psychological distance from the outcome. The key is to care, but not that much. Put your fear and ego to the side. Be patient. Get out of your own way. We have provided you with 2 journal activities for Lesson 16. Here we ask participants to reflect and respond to challenging questions about listening skills. The purpose of this exercise is to highlight areas of improvement. The 4 lessons in Module 3 are designed to improve efficiency and productivity. A key difference in top-line talent is that we don't believe in forcing process on participants. We help people identify areas of improvement and put their own processes in place that offset their weaknesses. We have provided you with a brief excerpt from the audiobook that discusses habits and practices of successful salespeople and why change is difficult. The journal for Module 3 contains many activities that involve productivity and efficiency. A good example is Lesson 28 that asks users to compare high-priority prospects and clients with how they are spending their time. A challenging exercise regarding time management follows. The final lesson involves reading your ebook, which is embedded with your journal entries. Those in sales management move on to listen and read The Leader's Coach, as described in the brief audiobook excerpt. Thank you for your interest in top-line talent. We hope you have gained a deeper understanding of how this program can help you transform your career and the careers of your people. For additional information, please reach out to us via email or phone, or visit our website to enroll.